everybody. I'm Sheila James. I'm in San Francisco in June 2015, and I'm a storyteller. Today I'm going to tell some stories about Ireland. In Ireland, the saying is that the greatest of all arts is storytelling. And I happen to be a little over half Irish, so I feel it's genetic that I'm doing this. I went with a friend, Carol Hires, and we stayed at B&Bs. We did rent a car because Carol said she couldn't cope with her luggage on the public transportation that we had originally thought we would be doing. One of the things that we did was to go all the way down to the south part of Ireland, to the Dingle Peninsula. In the southern part of Ireland, it's much warmer than in the north, and that's because of the Gulf Stream. And you even see palm trees down there. We were off season. We were at the end of September, early October, and there were very few people around. And our landlady, hostess at our B&B, said, "Why don't you go see the Dingle dolphin?" And we said, "A dolphin?" She said, "Yes, we have a dolphin here in Dingle." So we went out onto the dock, and this is a fishing village or town, and there were signs about taking trips out into the bay. And there was a man with his, a skipper with his motorboat. And he said, "You want to go see the Dingle dolphin?" And we said yes. So we got into the motorboat, small size, and off we went into the bay. And in a very short time, the skipper said to us, "Well, he'll be coming soon." And we said, "How do you know?" And he said, "The dolphin knows the engine sounds, and he likes my engine, and he'll be coming along." And indeed, there he was. And he swam around and around the boat, and a skipper said, "Would you like to go touch him?" And I said yes. Carol said no. And I went over the side into one of those rubber blow-up kind of boats, and which is attached to the main motorboat, and went out, and the dolphin came up to me, and I was able to pet the Dingle dolphin. It was great fun and totally unexpected. Another one of our adventures was in Dublin. Carol had been to in Ireland and to Dublin before, so she led me to Trinity College, and she knew that Trinity College was not a Catholic college. Almost everything in Ireland is Roman Catholic, but not Trinity College. But in Trinity College is where the books of Kells are kept. And they were made, written, drawn during the Dark Ages, when everything else was being destroyed. And the monks of Ireland went straight north until they came to the Isle of Iona, which is off the coast of Scotland. And there they preserved and continued to work on their books. When the Dark Ages got lighter, the books of Kells went back to Ireland and to Trinity University. It was a great, they're housed in glass cases in a great big room, like the very largest of libraries that you may have been in. And every few days, special people get to turn the pages so that you can see different pages at different times. I wasn't special enough, nor was Carol, but my Aunt Ethel Fegley, who was a professor in the library school at Columbia University in New York, when she was there in Ireland, and because of her background, they let her turn pages. A special happening while I was there was that they had a temporary display of Captain Cook's journals. Captain Cook discovered, that's what Westerners say, he came across in the middle of the Pacific Ocean what he chose to call the Sandwich Islands, but which the local people called Hawaii, and we call it that now. Another incident that remains very vivid is that on the west coast of Ireland, which is very Irish, we wanted to go to the Aran Islands. But as we drove down from Galway, the water was too rough. Every place we stopped and asked, they would say, too rough, too rough. So we got quite a bit farther down, and that bed and breakfast lady said, no Aran Islands from here, but you can go to Skellig Michael. And we said, what's that? Never heard of it. And she said, well, these are rocks, rocky places out in the Atlantic Ocean. You can only get there about 12 days a year because of the tremendous wave and current action. And this is one of the days you can go. And so since we couldn't get to one set of islands, we thought we'd get to another set. She made reservations, made our lunch, and off we walked to the dock and got onto a fairly sizable motorboat, open motorboat. And there were about 10 people there already. And we set out. It's open in the back, and the crew was 2, maybe 3 people. And then we were told it would be about 2 hours in this open boat, bouncing around in the Atlantic Ocean. And Carol said to me, Sheila, you know that I never get seasick, but I usually carry Dramamine, and I have some. Would you like one? I said, I certainly would. So I took my Dramamine, Carol took her steady body, and we were the only people, other than the crew, that didn't throw up. It was really rough. When we got out to Skellig Michael, it was huge rock formation, a little bit of flat ground, and then more of stonework up to a peak. And by this time we had found out that about half the people on the boat were going because they were religious people and wanted to see where the monks lived in about the 8th, 9th centuries. The other half of the people wanted to see where the gannets nested. Now, I hadn't ever heard of a gannet before, but it's kind of like a seagull, and there's supposed to be something like 20,000 of them there. When we docked, we were about the 3rd boat to arrive, and you had to climb over each of the boats onto a stone platform absolutely covered with mossy, damp things, and a stairway that went up to ground. So I had to climb the stairway on my hands and knees. It was so slippery for me. And when we got there, up onto the ground level, and had heard that to go up to where the monks had lived or the gannets nested were 400 stone steps, every one of them covered with all kinds of mildew and slippery things. No railings, and the stone steps weren't even. And I said to Carol, you go, dear. I don't think that I'm really ready for this. And she said, no, I'm going to be with you. I don't like the idea of coming down those steps either. So we sat in the sun for about an hour, or maybe two, and then went back to the boat, climbed over the others, and headed back to the island of Ireland, the big island. When we got back there, of course the tide had changed and we couldn't dock at the regular dock. We had to dock at a makeshift concrete arrangement with metal bars to be the ladder. And we had to climb up the metal bars to get up to the concrete flat. And then we were on main land. There aren't too many of us who've been to Skellig Michael, and I urge you to get out a map and look to see how far out into the Atlantic we really went. With because of our using B&Bs and because of our inability to study what we were going to be doing ahead of time, we found ourselves on the west coast of Ireland at evening time at a town called Doolin. And we asked around and found that, yes, there was a B&B. And we made arrangements to stay there that night. But there were no restaurants, there were no shops, there were 12 pubs, one of which would be playing authentic Irish music. So we said, that's for us. So we got there at what we thought was a good time, early enough before it got crowded, but on the late side for us. And we had our drinks, I think probably beer, and the music played, and Carol and I, again, looking at each other and shrugging our shoulders, saying, I don't really think I like this music. It's very repetitive, and it's mostly made for dancing, I think. No one danced, but everyone drank. And I was looking at the table next to us, and I said, Carol, turn around and look. And as she did, the woman slid from her chair underneath the table, and a friend sitting in the next chair grabbed the glass of beer out of that woman's hand before she really got underneath. I'd always heard the expression of drinking someone under the table, but this is the one and only time I've ever seen it. It was very smoky, and we decided that we'd had enough for that night. We did find nearby, not Doolin itself, but a craft shop, and we were absolutely delighted to buy sweaters, and I bought a red riding hood cloak, which I still have, and it's very warm. And I even do wear it. And I think that's enough of Ireland for today. We'll come another time.